Okay, now getting good glass effects. I've been looking for a way for a long time now, and to really sort of get that good glass effect. Now, this was suggested by one of my viewers. Now, if we can get the camera to focus in, and as you can see, that looks pretty good. I'm more than happy with this glass effect. It's very easy to do, very easy to do, and I will go ahead and show you. Now, what I've got in front of me, I've got four windows. Now, these four windows are for a build that I'm doing at the moment. I was just going to include this in my build as I went along, but I thought I'd do it separately so other people can have a look and use the idea. Okay, now what are we using to do our glass effects? We are going to be using these. These are 22mm 100 piece, and they're 0.13 and 0.17mm thickness glass slides, actual glass slides for a microscope. Now these are really thin. I shall get one out once I get the box open. And those who are now into health and safety and they think that I'm going to be playing with massive sheets of glass, turn off now. And those who are not so squeamish, we can carry on. Now, as you can see, I'm having a very hard job to actually show you the thickness of that. That is really thin. And these pieces of glass, they feel more like plastic, but they are glass. They really are thin sheets of glass. Now, we'll talk about the price of these. You can get these off eBay. They're roughly about £2 a box. If you want to wait a while, you can get them from China for 99 pence. I will put a link in the description box for them. You'll have to sort of sort it out. It depends what country you're in, but it will give you a starting point, and then you better track them down. The next thing I got was a engineer's scribe. This is a tungsten, whatever it is, metal engineer's scribe. The reason I bought this was to actually cut the glass with. This was about £2 as well, so we're not looking at no more than £5, which isn't bad for your glass sheets and as something to cut them with. And this is useful as well for other items, but we'll go into that later. So that's what I'm using to make my glass effects, is real glass. Also, I will be using glue and glaze by Deluxe Materials. Now, I'm going to be using this for the simple reason is I've done a few with using super glue, and they've got an occasion to actually fog up. It does do quite a nice effect as well. It leaves it sort of whitish. It looks quite dirty and grubby. So it is something that you know, if you're doing broken windows and you want them looking dirty, use super glue. You really got a great effect without really doing too much weathering to them. But I'm using the glue and glaze, and well, I had it, so, and it works, so I'm using it. Okay, I've got my wet palette, tiny bit of glue and glaze, not too much, paintbrush, nothing too complicated, nothing too mad, and literally just take some of this glue and glaze around the outside. Could have done with a smaller brush, but there you go. Now, fairness, glue and glaze is useful for a lot of things. So it's just a matter of putting the glue around the outside like so. I hope you saw that because I weren't looking at the screen. Now, you can do this two ways. The first way is the way that I do it. I just sit that on there, press it down, and we're going to leave it to dry, like so. Now the bit that's sticking out, when it's dry, you can just get your scribe, just draw along that edge and it will break off. That's totally up to you which way you do it. You know, this little video is getting the effect. The system that you work out for yourself is totally up to you. Now, the other way is just by cutting them. You can just measure it up roughly, use your scribe, and then cut it on a flat surface using a ruler if you really want to be 100% accurate. There we go. It cuts as easy as that, and you do exactly the same thing again. Put some glue around. Now I'm going to be doing all these windows because simple reason is they are for, like I say, a build. So I'm going to be doing all of them. Simply go around with your glue. Get your cut piece and drop it in place. Like so. Also what I do is with the glue and glaze, I'll go around and just put a little bit around the edge just to back it up. Like so. That removes it. So just run a little bit round all the way around the edge. And then what we do is we leave that to dry. And we'll come back to that. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do all my windows, and you understand how to cut them and how to glue them in. I'm going to get all my windows done, and then I'll come back and we'll show you how we break them. Right, the little window's dry. You can just see the glass in there reflecting, hopefully. It's had about an hour, hour and a half, and the next thing is breaking it. This is, I did say this would come in useful a bit later on. All I do is hold it and drop it onto your glass. Now, we've already started to break bits there, we've made holes, and now it's just your sort of artistic license on how far you start going with the breakage. If you use a flatter one, like I've got a flat end, you get more of a bullseye, and it's just a matter now of experimenting with what you've got around you. And with pairs of tweezers you can break bits out, pull bits out, crush it, and virtually do anything you want to get the effect of your glass. Now, if you do a bullseye and there's lots of little bits of glass laying in, like that bit there, I use a little tiny bit of this. This is the gloss coat. It's for aircraft canopies. That's it. It's just a clear coat for clear plastic. Very useful. Just a little bit of that over the back, leaves the window nice and clear, but holds everything in place. You can also use the glue and glaze. The glue and glaze I do find a little bit, it distorts a little bit, but it still does the job. So that's how you do your broken glass, and hopefully it's been useful to you, and I thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Before I go, I didn't mention it, but when you've been breaking the windows, you are left with little bits of glass from out of the window, which is natural because we're using glass. All I do is a little pot, I sweep them up, keep them in the pot, and I use these later on when I fitted the windows, because I use this as scatter around the inside of the house or the outside. So just a little quick tip before I disappear. Now I will leave you with a few close-up pictures, and thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.